What a game last night. What a game. The bottom line is the Golden State Warriors are 48 minutes, meaning one game away from capturing another NBA championship. What are the Boston Celtics going to do? What are they going to do? I have no idea, just like I have no idea what the hell Top Gun is doing with that crew cut right there. It remains to be seen. I mean, I saw him in studio. He's got the fade going. We got Penelope Pitstop, a.k.a. Molly Kiram, hosting the show. I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't know what the hell.
I don't even know that reference.
First Take is on the way. Molly, look it up, and you'll see what we're talking about.
Goodbye, Stephen A. Roll the open.
First Take's in that.
Oh, what a fake from Draymond.
My boys make major moves. Still the same ones that I came with. Up in a payment. Told you we nothing to play with. Guess some things unchangeable.
Shot is good. Out of foul. Golden State with a 16-point lead in the first half. Tatum finds some room.
All this time, I'm on the grind. Oh, I'm shining. Nothing can stop me.
And the Celtics take the lead. Poole gets it off in time. Oh, he banks it in. It's a one-point game as we head to the fourth.
Over the course of the game, we were in it. I felt like we just couldn't get over the hump.
Championship DNA shows up when it's needed most.
Run it up, run it up, run it up, run it up. Nothing can stop me.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take. Thank you for being with us. Stephen A., it's called a summer haircut, all right?
Summer cut, Stephen A.
Summer cut.
It's a summer cut. Weather's getting warmer. I'm going to be playing some golf,
Yeah.
and at the beach in the pool, try to work on this tan. Come on, man.
He has a stressful summer ahead.
Definitely, you're a good-looking brother, Top Gun, but you definitely need to work on that tan. That is number
I'm well aware.
And number two, last time I checked, summer doesn't officially begin until the 21st of June. We have not arrived there yet, but that's me nitpicking. That's me nitpicking.
You're totally a Debbie Downer today. I can feel your vibe. It is going to be my goal to change that. Someone's a little cranky. It's catching up to him, the no sleep. Let's go. Yeah, yes, you are. Steph Curry, I'm right. I know I'm right. Has been hot all series. Last night, he didn't make a three for the first time in 233 games. Meanwhile, Jason Tatum's shooting woes, they came to an end. He put up 27 fouls. Boston's third quarter struggles came to an end as well, outscoring Golden State in the third, 35-24. So despite all that in Boston's favor, the Celtics scored 5 points over the first 8 minutes of the fourth, and the Dubs took over from there with the 104-94 victory. Now Golden State is one win away and have the opportunity to collect another ring Thursday. Here's Steve Kerr.
We got two cracks at getting one win, but we also know how difficult it's going to be. So nobody's celebrating, but we're excited to be in this spot, and we want to take advantage of it.
From the jump, we was looking around expecting somebody to bail us out. You just gotta, be stronger, more physical, more dominant, get to the paint, and make somebody stop you. And I know we're capable of it. We just got to do it.
All right. JJ, full disclosure, I really want the Celtics to win because I want my pick to be right, and my father's diehard Celtics fan for all those selfish reasons. I need to know this. Do you truly believe, with your expertise, former player, one of the greatest shooters, knowing all the do you truly believe the Celtics are going to win another game?
Do I truly believe? So, no, I don't think they are. I'm not changing my pick.
What?
I'm not all of a sudden saying the Warriors. I'm picking the Warriors.
News.
No, I'm still picking the Celtics. But in my heart of hearts, I'm struggling here, Stephen A. I'm struggling here. I really am. The Warriors.
You are dancing, bro.
They look like the better team. They look like the better team, and they have completely flummoxed the Boston Celtics offense, especially in the half court. It's a struggle right now. It is an absolute struggle. And, we could talk about all the turnover numbers, but the Golden State Warriors just look like they figured this team out. For them to have that game last night where Steph Curry goes 0 for 9 from 3, and they still win comfortably. And if you look at the end of that third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, it was guys like Jordan Poole. It was guys like Gary Payton II. It was guys like Andrew Wiggins stepping up in the moment. Where are those guys for the Celtics? Where are they, Stephen A? I don't know. My heart is sad today. My heart is sad.
Oh my God! You just write the epitaph. Huh? That's what you're doing. And then I let it slide when you did it in the playoffs, okay? But you're switching picks again.
I'm not switching picks. I'm sticking with the Celtics. But the question was, do I believe they're going to win?
You got to lose it. Hold on.
Just be
Educate me. I don't have a Duke education. That's no doubt. I'm proud of the education I received from an HBCU, Winston-Salem State. But damn it, I understand Duke is Duke. But I'm having a really tough time deciphering this. How do you pick the Celtics, but you got them losing in Game 6, which means they would lose the NBA Finals? I don't know. I mean, maybe your brilliance. I don't know, JJ Redick. How do you come up with that?
Both can be true. Both can be true.
How?
My official pick is still the Celtics. The question was, do I believe they're going to win? And the answer to that is no.
Just a little bit of hypocrisy. It's all good, though.
Oh, my Lord. Hilarious. Listen, here's the deal. I don't blame you one bit. I ain't going to get on you too hard about it, man. I don't blame you. I got the Warriors winning this in 7. I still believe that the Boston Celtics will go back to Boston Thursday night and win this, and then the Golden State Warriors will come back home and close it out because the Golden State Warriors are perfectly capable of wetting the bed. Let's take last night into consideration here. The Golden State Warriors escaped. Let's call that what it is. Now, they deserve all the credit in the world for the way they defended against Boston. There is no doubt about that. Holding Jason Tatum to 1 of 5 shooting in the fourth quarter, although he only committed 1 turnover in the fourth for crying out loud. Jaylen Brown couldn't find his shot all night long. Certainly couldn't hit from 3. It was like 0 for 5 from three-point range. But let's take into account what the Golden State Warriors endured. Andrew Wiggins was absolutely sensational. It was the best game of his career. I don't think anybody would doubt that. And we're not talking about numbers because we know he scored more than 26 before. But the manner in which he played, the way he put his head down and attacked the basket, the way he defended against Jason Tatum late, particularly in the fourth quarter, Andrew Wiggins was the MVP of last night's game. It ain't even close. There is no doubt about it. And he made big play after big play, and he deserves a lot of credit. The Golden State Warriors collectively shot the rest of their, outside of Klay Thompson and his 5 threes that were pivotal. The starters combined to shoot 0 for 19 from three-point range. Steph Curry himself was 0 for 9, the first time in the last, 132 games, postseason games where he had at least 1 three-pointer. And last night that came to an end, so you can expect him to make amends for that come Thursday night. But when you look at how the Golden State Warriors struggled, particularly in the third quarter, when Boston came out and scored 10 straight and ultimately had their way in that third quarter before the last 80 seconds or so. You got to look at Boston and say they had an opportunity to win this game. And if that were to happen again in Boston, would they win that game? I'd say yes. So again, I'm going with my prediction of Golden State winning in 7. But I'm not ruling out the possibility that Boston could go back to Boston and TD Bank Garden for Game 6 and close this out, no matter how befuddled, no matter how flummoxed, to use your word, no matter how discombobulated they appear. It's still a 3-2 series, and I can see the Boston Celtics winning Thursday night and then losing Sunday night. That's where I'm at with it. I know they could lose, but I can still see them winning this game, Game 6. I really do.
They've shown an incredible amount of resiliency throughout these playoffs. And outside of the Brooklyn Nets series, they really haven't put together multiple games in a row where they played well. Obviously, they came back 3-2 against the Bucks and the Heat. And so, they had to win multiple games in a row, and they've shown they're capable of that. We've talked about these turnovers, Stephen A., all playoffs, and high number of turnover games from Jaylen Brown, high number of turnover games from Jason Tatum. And, if we want to talk about the series as a whole, to me, that's what it has come down to. Yes, Steph Curry has been brilliant. Yes, Andrew Wiggins was phenomenal last night. Points off turnovers, 103 to 79. That's almost 5 points a game in favor of the Warriors. And not all turnovers are created equal. You have dead ball turnovers. Yeah. Jason Tatum's first turnover last night, he tried to hit Marcus Smart in the corner, and he threw it into the 7th row. It's the live ball turnovers that have really, really hurt the Boston Celtics. I'll give you one stat real quick on that, which I think is fascinating. Through 5 games, the Warriors have forced 45 live ball turnovers, and they've scored 66 points. The Celtics have forced 27 live ball turnovers, and they've scored 42 points off that. Like, that, to me, is as much the difference in the series as anything else. And we've talked about this drop coverage against Steph. The last 2 games, the Celtics have been great in that drop coverage. Last night was a great example of that. And the reason, and you got to give Ime Udoka a lot of credit, because I think a lot of coaches, and if I was a coach, I would have overreacted. And not stuck with that game plan of staying in drop coverage against Steph Curry. And it has worked. And the reason they don't want to do it is because of what we saw in that Mavs series, where they blitzed them over and over. The Warriors scored about 50 points in the paint in that series. Through 4 games, they were at 32 points in the paint. Last night, they got 50. Like that, when they get 50 points in the paint, they don't have to hit a lot of threes. Steph Curry doesn't have to go bananas and hit 6 or 7 threes for them to have a chance to win. And that's where you got to give Andrew Wiggins a lot of credit last night. Obviously on the defensive end, obviously rebounding the basketball, but his ability to attack the paint, and you saw it time and time again in the fourth quarter specifically, but his ability to attack the paint and get to the rim and score efficiently, that was huge for the Warriors.
Well, see, the thing about it is that I don't disagree with what you're saying. And obviously, from a cumulative perspective, you're absolutely right. But I pay attention to moments, too. That does matter to me as well. And I think that when, using baseball parlance, talking about the home run, the 3-point shot is the home run for the Golden State Warriors because of the manner in which it appears to galvanize everybody and really elevate their level of intensity. When they're hitting threes, they're looking to blow you out of building. They're like piranhas coming at you. All of a sudden, everybody gets hyped because they feed off of it. It's not to say that, they don't bring that defensive intensity for the most part. But when you score a 3-pointer as opposed to a 2-pointer, Golden State seems to feed off of that better than any team in the NBA. It just seems to do something to them, to heighten their level of adrenaline and tenacity and to make them come at you in a certain way. And so when you have only Klay Thompson hitting 3-pointers and you're getting that level of production from nobody else, there's a reason that Boston was able to come back after halftime and turn a 12-point deficit into a 5-point lead. There's a reason that Boston seemed within striking distance. There's a reason that Boston came out and was able to score 10 straight points. Something, somehow, some way, as they continue to scratch and claw and remain in it, when you're neutralizing Golden State from hitting those 3-point shots, it gives Boston that much of a chance. I say all of that to say that when you're giving up twos, you're giving up points in the paint, even though you don't want that to happen. If we're looking at it as an end result from a cumulative perspective, we're saying, okay, this may be a reason why they lost that game. But what I'm saying to you is that when Golden State is scoring on 2s instead of 3s, it gives Boston life and keeps them in the mix of it. Now, they can't make the mistakes that you pointed out and you highlighted accurately so. But the point is they're there. They're right there. Why? Because Golden State, somehow, some way, their offense seems stale when they're not hitting the 3s with the level of regularity we're accustomed to seeing from them. And if Boston could get them to rely more on 2s than 3s, I think Boston takes one of these games and they got a shot to win the NBA championship. I don't think it'll happen because you ain't going to see Golden State shoot from 3s the way they did last night again. Certainly not when it comes to Steph Curry. But I do think that Boston still has a chance to get one of these games.
Well, here's where I'm sort of going to agree with that sentiment, because I've said this a number of times. I don't believe in momentum in series. I believe in adjustments and X's and O's and guys bring in the right mindset to a particular game. Like, that's what matters. But I do believe in momentum within a game. And to your point about the 3-pointers, that is certainly how Golden State generally gets momentum, is by those back-breaking threes where Steph hits a couple deep ones in a row. Klay goes nuts for a quarter. We saw that last night. That Jordan Poole 3 at the end of the third quarter was a momentum shift. It gave them a 1-point lead. They never relinquished it. That was a huge play. But on the point about 2s, I disagree with you on this. So much of what Golden State does well is they use the threat of the 3. They use the threat of Steph Curry in pick and rolls or coming off post splits to get layups and score even more efficiently at the rim. They were at the top, towards the top of the league all season in made layups per game, made layups on cuts, points in the paint. That's what the Boston Celtics have tried to take away. And there is a cumulative effect. And whether you feel it as a player or amongst the fans when they're not hitting 3s, they're scoring efficiently at the rim like they did last night. And
I'm not denying
that to me is as much of a backbreaker, whether we as observers or whether the players on the court feel it. It is a backbreaker, Stephen.
No.
A.
Oh, I totally agree with you. The only thing I'm asking you to recognize is the fact that when they're scoring in the paint, yeah, they might end up losing the game, but in the throes of watching the game, because I completely agree with you, by the way, I don't believe necessarily in momentum in the series. When I'm talking momentum, I'm talking about in the moment in a game to help deliver a victory for you that particular night. I do believe that there are momentum shifts that take place within a game, and obviously that can galvanize you and elevate you to a victory. But what I'm saying to you is when you look at Boston, if you look at the Golden State Warriors, when they're scoring a lot on twos, as deflating as that is, there is far more of a profound impact when somebody's raining threes on you, particularly the Golden State Warriors, because they tend to feed off of it. It does something to them. And when you look at them going victory after victory after victory, okay, if they're primarily doing it because they're outscoring you on points in the paints, sometimes you've got thrillers. When they start raining threes on you, you scared as hell they're going to blow you out of the state. That's all I mean by making that kind of a statement. When we talk about Game 6, for example, if Steph Curry rolls up back in the TD Garden, or Klay Thompson, because we know what he like, we know he loves Game 6s and what have you, and they start raining threes on you, it's going to be lights out because Golden State feeds off of that, and it serves to demoralize the opposition in ways that no other team can do that to somebody. And that's what I pay attention to. But I don't disagree with your premise. I understand where you're coming from. I'm just talking about the home run hits. I'm talking about the three-point shot. You want to make sure that you force Golden State to have a night like they had last night from three-point range. That drastically improves your chances.
That's fair.
And Warriors have had over 100 points on turnovers. That's the most since Jordan's Bulls in 1992. Let's focus on Steph Curry, guys. So as for him, obviously coming off that Herculean performance, 43 points, 10 rebounds, and he snapped his all-time streak of 233 consecutive games with a made three-pointer in a Game 5 win last night as the Warriors take a 3-2 series lead. He went 0 for 9 from 3. His line 16, 3, and 8. Steph, talk to me.
I mean, of course, it bothers me as a shooter. You want to impact the game that way, but thankfully, that's not the only thing that you do out there on the court.
I know he'll be thinking about the shots he missed, and that's a good thing because Thursday, hopefully, most of the time he regresses to the mean, and it's scary when he does.
First, I love the Ayesha Curry t-shirt because she's the real MVP. JJ, did the Celtics figure out how to slow him down, Steph?
I don't know if they figured out how to slow him down, but they certainly, again, stuck with their coverage. They stuck with their game plan. And as I mentioned, that drop coverage over the last 2 games has worked much better than it worked the first 3 games. They're basically scoring about half as many points per possession in the last 2 games versus the first 3. So that is working. Yeah, the one play that really sticks out to me last night was in the fourth quarter. They ran their post split on the right side, right in front of their bench. Steph Curry came off, and we saw a similar play in the fourth quarter in Boston in Game 4. Derek White got a great rear view contest, and you saw Robert Williams, I think it was, Robert Williams all the way back. His man was a screener. You saw him all the way back. On this particular play last night, Al Horford lunged and basically trapped Steph Curry off that post split. Steph Curry made the simple play. He hit Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins got a lefty lay at the rim. We have not seen that play at all this series. That has not been an action. They have been content to let him shoot. And so even though he had an off shooting night, there was a sense of desperation. And I can attest to this as a shooter. Sometimes you just miss shots. And we have seen throughout Steph Curry's career, this playoff run, and even in these finals, yeah, he's killed, but he's hitting ridiculously tough shots. And sometimes on night to night, you might just have an off night and you might not hit the shots that you normally hit. And I thought that was a little bit of the case last night. And the other part was them sticking in that drop coverage, but then also off the ball, just having a crazy sense of desperation, which they hadn't had in the first 4 games by bringing that second defender in there.
Steph Curry was 0 for 9 last night from three-point range. I counted at least 4 three-point shots where he was wide open. He just missed. It happens. I mean, he's the greatest shooter God has ever created. I've never seen anybody can shoot basketball like him. He's entitled. It happens, okay? I'm not worried about that at all. And I will remind everybody that figuring him out, we came into last night's game fresh off a 43-point performance by Steph Curry in Game 4. On 14 of 26 shooting, 7 of 14 from three-point range, averaging 34 on 50% shooting from the field and 49% shooting from three-point range. What the hell you mean figured him out? One game because he missed, all of a sudden they figured him out? That is just idiotic. There's no. Did
I say that? Are you calling me an idiot? No, I didn't say that.
Not you. I'm not talking about you.
Okay,
I'm talking about the question. I'm talking about the question. All right. What I'm saying is, I'm saying for anybody who would think that, it's idiotic because here's the deal. Steph Curry had contested shots in the first 4 games of the NBA Finals. And he was doing what he was doing despite the fact that some of those shots were contested. So the point that I'm trying to make is that last night he just missed, but I didn't see the Boston Celtics in terms of a hand in his face. And I know that you can schematically you can get into the coverage that they exercise against him, JJ. But what I'm saying is at the end of the day, contested, uncontested, I saw the same amount of opportunities and the same amount of contested shots. He just made them before last night. Last night was a struggle. Let's see what happens in Game 6. I'm willing to bet my check you won't see an 0-4 from Steph Curry from three-point range again. I'm willing to bet my check on that. I don't see that happening.
That's a pretty safe bet if we look historically.
How about
given
that?
Given that he, I think 132 playoff games is the first time going 0-4. Hadn't done it since November, I believe, of 2018 in a regular season game. Like he's going to come back and he's going to make threes. The point to add on to what you said, and this is not in disagreement at all. It's just to supplement what you just said about Steph Curry and really any truly great player. I'm not talking top 15, top 20 guys going through their first deep playoff run. I'm talking about the truly great players. They have seen every coverage. They have seen every defense. They've been guarded by small pests. They've been guarded by long wing defenders. They've been guarded by bulldogs like Marcus Smart. They've seen every defender on them. They've seen every coverage. There's no figuring out how to guard these guys. Steph Curry is one of the greatest players of all time, one of the greatest offensive players of all time, one of the greatest shooter, or the greatest shooter of all time. You're not figuring him out. Some nights you get lucky and he goes 0-for or he has a 2-for-12 game from 3, but that has really as little to do with defense as him just missing. You can try and make it tough on him, but he's just that good.
And let's call it what it is, JJ Redick. The fact that Steph Curry was 0-for-9 yesterday is why you sitting here thinking that Boston's done. Because they lost the game despite the fact that Steph Curry was 0-for-9. And you know that ain't happening again. That's a big reason why you feel the way that you feel right now. And I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
It's a fact. It's a fact.
All right, JJ, sit tight. We got some football news to deal with, Stephen A, from our nation's capital. That's where we'll go right now. Washington Commanders head coach Ron Rivera